Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother***ing ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I am Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is the developer's system, Dan Ryan.
There was no foreplay there. That was just right into it.
That's what I'm all about. I'm all about business here, sir. Getting ourselves back on schedule. It is time to tackle the Nintendo DS starter kit. Which games made the cut? Hold on to your stylus. Yes, that is a euphemism, because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
Oh wait, that was this week?
Hi everyone. This is episode 453. It is the week of March 10th, 2023, Mario Day. Is when this episode's going live. Martin. How you doing?
Right.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm okay. I'm tired, man.
Yeah, me too.
I
mean, that's what happens when you live your life a quarter mile at a time.
Man, I'm so I keep trying to talk Tiff into watching the Fast and the Furious movies.
You gotta do what I'm doing.
I need to know. I didn't hate the first Fast and the Furious movie, okay? I honestly didn't.
I can honestly say that I didn't hate it either. All right, look, before we go any further, I need to explain for anybody who's not in our Discord.
No. Just no context whatsoever. This is the Fast and Furious cast.
My co-host, he was a guest on our trivia episode a while back, Paul. He's best friend, longtime friend. Love this guy to death. For some reason, I can't remember.
Pump the brakes on that best friend shit. I'm sitting right here.
I can have more than one best friend.
Oh, fuck you. God damn it. You know I'm fragile, Kris.
That's why I love you. So, I think it was around when we got to the letter F, he thought we were going to do Fast and the Furious, and then we didn't. And he decided to watch all of the Fast and the Furious. Because that's the kind of guy he is. Like, he's just like, no, I'm going to watch everything. I'm going to see all of it. And he's been trying to convince me to watch all these movies for a while now. And I have zero interest in watching any of the Fast and Furious movies. And then he hit me with a proposition that was just so goddamn stupid, I could no longer say no. He said, if you start tomorrow and watch 15 minutes a day, you'll get through every single one of the Fast and Furious movies before Fast 10 comes out. I was like, that's... All right, fine.
That's just dumb enough to work.
You fucking sold me. I will set aside 15 minutes a day to watch Fast and Furious movies. So I finished the first one today because I'm going out of town this week and I'm not 100% positive I will have 15-minute increments here or there to watch a chunk of these movies. And wow.
You and I go to the bathroom very differently, apparently.
I've got
that's
a process.
At least a 15-minute project.
At least look. My morning constitutional is not short. I'm just saying. I'm not spending that watching the Fast and the Furious.
Why not? Wake up with Vin Diesel, and eventually The Rock for some fucking reason.
There's enough action in there. Okay. So I've watched the first one.
Oh, and you've seen trailers for the other ones. How do we get from point A to point B?
You know what? I don't know.
Understand. Because that first movie is okay at best. Like, it's not good.
That first movie is fun. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
I
don't
about
hate
shit
it.
acting. And
sure.
like the plot's insane. They just were throwing curveball after curveball after curveball. But what pissed me off so much is that it just stops. There was no setup for a sequel. They just didn't answer any questions. This guy got shot. Is he dead? I don't know. Did the other guy on the motorcycle die? I don't know. Did he patch things up with the girl, or did she decide to move on? Who the fuck knows? Did he get in trouble with his bosses because he did all this stuff? I don't know. Did they catch what happened to the guy in the truck? Did they stop the trucks? Who knows?
Maybe.
Who won the race wars? Fucking race wars? What the fuck?
Don't say race wars. I know. That was a bit... Whoops. We didn't think that one through.
But we don't even know who won that. We know nothing. We know absolutely nothing except for that Vin Diesel went to Mexico. He did it by himself.
He did, yeah.
Because, here's what I know about these movies is family. Family this, family that, family. And then he said...
You don't turn your back on family, Kris.
He said, I want to go down to Mexico with you to, Miss Angry Pants. He said that to her, and then he goes down to Mexico by his fucking self. At least as far as I know,
maybe.
They didn't answer the
You don't
question.
know
Was
anybody else that could
was
be
she
there.
somewhere else in the car? We don't know. They answered
She was.
nothing.
She was in the trunk.
They just stopped shooting the movie.
That's where he puts her.
They're like, well, we're gonna race
out of
against
money.
this train. That's what we're gonna do. You and me, Paul Walker. We're gonna race against this train. It's Groot versus Paul Walker. We're gonna race a train. Why are we racing this train? Because I keep calling him Groot because I have no idea what his character in the movie is called. I know he's Vin Diesel.
Dominic Toretto.
Sure, whatever. Dom. But he's Groot.
Yeah,
he's
Dom.
he's Groot. That's what he's called. That's what it's work. That's
He's Riddick.
in this movie theater. He's fucking Groot. And like, I know Paul Walker dies. And like, what was why were they racing the train? They stop at a stoplight. He's a cop, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna drive
Fucking
towards
do
that
this.
train, and that's what I'm gonna do now. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna do it too. And then they do it, and then he gives the guy his car, and the movie's over. What the fuck did I just watch? What did I do?
But then, so I've only seen that first one.
Well,
I've
you
seen
need
like
to start
bits and pieces of like the second and the third, I think.
starting tomorrow.
but-
You need to start on Too Fast, Too Furious, 15 minutes at a time.
But like, you watching the trailer for like the last 17 Fast and the Furious movies, like I think it's better that I don't know how we get from that first movie to fucking John Cena and The Rock and helicopters and rocket whatever the fuck else is going on. But I am really curious as to how we get there.
I'm genuinely curious too, because I'm not gonna look. It was.
I hope
it was
it
a
makes
shit
sense
movie,
somehow.
but I was entertained. I will.
Sure, the cars are cool. The driving scenes are really well done. Like they're cool.
The action was indeed riveting.
Yeah, I was fucking riveted. I was like a fucking bolt being put into some metal. I was riveted.
It's not good, but it's fun.
No.
Ugh, so, yeah,
Yeah.
that's been happening for me lately. That's how I've been starting every day before I start work. I wake up, I do my daily dadish, and then I come down here and watch 15 minutes of Fast and Furious, make fun comments on Discord with all of our friends, and
It's just, oh man, what a fucking wacky ass franchise.
it really, really is.
God damn. And then there's like, at some point they just named another movie Fast and the Furious. Like, what? Which one is that one? First one or like the 8th one, I think.
Oh
The
god,
7th.
it was
doesn't make any fucking sense.
because it was just called Fast and Furious, I think, not the
oh yeah,
Fast
not
and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious. Yeah, you take away the and
It's a
fucking-
whole different thing. All right,
oh my
so
God,
because
just nonsense.
Paul, he didn't just account for watching the movies, like he accounted for watching the franchise, right? So there's like a couple of YouTube videos that I'm supposed to fit in there, and like the spin-off. All right, so it was the Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious,
Oh, yeah.
Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, just Furious 7. I'm guessing there's no racing in that one.
They're just angry the
It's
whole time. It's just Groot sitting around. "Arr, fuck.
The Fate of the Furious,
Oh, the Fate.
F9, what? And then Fast X. Then there was Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. I didn't realize that
that's
they
right.
were being presented. And then there are two
They were-
short films, The Turbocharged Prelude for Too Fast, Too Furious, and Los Bandoleros. I had to double check that one because I was like,
man.
I know my brain's telling me that's the word Bandoleros, but did they do something stupid and give it some sort of funny name? No, it's actually Bandoleros. Okay.
No, it's actually.
So hold on. The next one is Too Fast, Too Furious. So I need to watch this turbocharged prelude for Too Fast, Too Furious first.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I checked this. I'm going to have to watch that in the
Oh
morning.
God. Otherwise,
I'd be
you would
lost.
have had to start over.
I would be lost. I would go into this movie and not know what's going on, or we can't have that.
No, certainly not.
Let's see.
Oh God.
The film follows Brian O'Connor and details his
Isn't
escape.
that Paul Walker?
Is that
That was
Paul
Paul
Walker?
Walker's character? I think so.
I have no idea. I just kept thinking of like, if Mystery Science Theater was watching this, they'd be like, now he's Paul Runner. He's Paul Ducker. Paul Jogger. Paul Shooter. Let's see.
It's not Giovanni Ribisi, and therefore I stopped caring because I love that guy.
Brian O'Connor details his escape from Los Angeles and avoidance of law enforcement, which culminates in his eventual arrival to Miami. The film is set between the events of The Fast and Furious and Too Fast, Too Furious. Was Brian O'Connor, was that Paul Walker's character's name? See, now I have to know.
I thought so.
Yeah, Brian O'Connor, an undercover cop.
Yeah.
So, dude, just
God,
like...
why do I remember so much fucking Fast and the Furious? A movie I've seen like twice.
So
although once I did pay to go see in the theater, so, you know,
this
I don't know
dude
what that
just
says
like
about
leaves the police department? Like, that was it? He's just...
To be fair, there was probably more of a story, and then he like died in real life.
Yeah, but that wasn't until, what, the third movie?
I mean, maybe?
Oh, wait, doesn't the third movie not have anything to do with any of the rest of them?
I think, yeah,
Tokyo
Drift
barely has anything to do with the other ones.
I believe that takes place in Munich, I think is where that one's set.
Oh, Brian O'Connor is still in Fast and
Leipzig?
Furious, the fourth one.
Is he?
Yeah, according to Wikipedia,
know, man.
Dominic Toretto and Federal Bureau of Holy shit, he joins the FBI. Brian O'Connor are forced to work together to avenge the murder of Toretto's lover, Letty Ortiz.
Oh, no.
Wait, I thought he was with Angry Chick, Miss Angry Pants.
Miss Angry Pants. Dude,
why would anyone, know. Why is anyone...
Michelle Gonzalez? Is that
Michelle
who that is?
Rodriguez. Hold on.
Rodriguez,
the murder of her, but then I'm seeing her... Despite
she wasn't murdered.
A picture of Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz is seen in a mid-credits scene. Wait, I've seen her in trailers for the newer movies. Did they bring her back from the dead?
She's unmurdered.
Oh, man. Tell me there's time travel.
Is she resurrected? Do they find the fucking Infinity Stones?
Do they go
Is
back?
he really Groot?
Oh, man.
Son of a bitch.
I am... The plot
and
thickens.
Is anything we just said out of the realm of possibility for what this franchise fucking is? I don't think so. I don't know for sure, but I don't think so.
All right, I need to know.
It's the most important franchise in American cinematic history.
She is definitely listed as a character in Furious 7, Letty. So she comes back. Oh, this Jordana Brewster is Mia. She stays in these movies too.
Does she?
Yeah. When did Paul Walker die?
I don't know.
Paul Walker, American actor, died in 2013. And that was the year Fast and Furious 6 came out. So he was in at least the first 6 movies.
Theoretically.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fucking...
Oh, look, Fast and Furious 6 continues from the ending of Tokyo Drift. So Furious 7 follows up on Tokyo Drift. Wow, this is a thing. This is a real universe here.
It is. Yeah, I am fascinated by it. I really feel like I will be just endlessly disappointed. That it will not be as stupid as I think it should be. I don't know though.
I mean, if everyone who has been talking to me is to be believed, then the depths of the stupidity knows no bounds. My only problem with the first one was that they took it very seriously.
Oh no, they were making a serious movie about car culture.
They were making a serious movie about big men in their big boy pants being very manly and very real. And it took place on Earth the same way fucking Pitch Perfect takes place on Earth. It was like Pitch Perfect, except instead of a cappella, it's cars, and these guys were not joking.
No, they were not. Although, like, when that movie came out, that shit was fucking big, man. Like, Philly used to have, like, fucking weekly races on Front Street. Like, with looking just like fucking Fast and the Furious and shit. Like, that was legit, man. It was fucking. I don't know. It was never a thing I was into, except for like the one fucking PS2 game, Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. That shit's fucking dope. But it was like a big deal. So like they made a serious movie about car culture that just has gone completely off the rails at this point. The fucking trailer for this new one, when he takes that Charger out of the back of the plane or the helicopter, whatever it's on, and it slams down on the other two cars and somehow doesn't fucking disintegrate. Like it's just, it just bounces through these cars like a fucking Mario level. He's stomping on some Goombas and shit. And then he just drives away like that's a fucking thing that would happen. It's absurd.
I am genuinely like, if we get to Fast X and like one of them doesn't drive off a cliff and Lakitu pick them up on a fishing pole, I'm going to be upset.
I wonder if the plan at this point is to get up to like Fast 29 so that the movie Triple X can then be retroactively rebranded as Fast 30.
I don't know, man.
And then
I don't know how many
X2,
more of these things Vin Diesel has in him.
Where Groot becomes Ice Cube, which is weird.
Groot Cube.
I fucking love Ice Cube as an actor. That dude is really fucking funny. He is not a serious action star though. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Friday. It's one of the funniest fucking movies ever made.
I have not.
Oh my God, it's legitimately hysterical. The rest of the Friday movies were horrendous. That first one, really fucking funny. But then, like, I'm not buying Ice Cube as an action star, man. It's just not happening. I don't know why. Maybe that's some me shit. I don't know, but
I kind of feel like it's like buying you as an action star.
Oh my God, I would be such a good action star. I would fucking kill it.
I just don't see you motivated to move around all that much.
That's fair. That's fair.
Given the choice,
I'm a good actor, though.
Given the choice between like getting involved in an action sequence and just sitting down for a while, I know I'm choosing sitting down for a while every time.
Well, that's a funny, like, it's an interesting segue from all of this nonsense into me getting involved in an action situation at work that I shouldn't have been involved in. There was an altercation, let's say, at my job.
Was Jason
this
Momoa
week
part of it?
Yes. The fucking Jason Momoa problems I've been having.
You got some serious ass Jason Momoa problems.
That's right. He's fucking standing in the Jose Canseco executive annex right now. Just fucking glaring at me.
You.
Speaking Dothraki. I'm like, that's not a fucking language. Stop it. What's wrong with you? I don't fucking speak that shit. I'm not a nerd. Speak Klingon next. Loser. Anyway.
Now let me get back to my video game podcast.
Yeah, god damn it, Jason. Fuck. Don't make any more Aquaman movies. They're fucking terrible.
I don't think he's in any danger of that.
Fucking, you should be Lobo, though.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
He nodded in agreement. He thinks so. He said yes in Dothraki, I think. It's weird. This is a weird situation I find myself in, with just Jason Momoa hanging out. It's very strange. Anyway, I lead an interesting and exciting life. There was an altercation at my job this week that I got myself in. There were multiple altercations at my job this week that I found myself involved in. And I, on Tuesday, got involved in like my 6th or 7th altercation of the week. And it was only Tuesday. And I hurt my shoulder and could not fucking play video games for the rest of the week. I just started like being able to like use my arm like a normal person today. Wow. So, yes, given the option, I probably should choose inaction, but no, stupid me is like, I'm still 20. and gets involved in shit and hurts his fucking shoulder. Isn't that dumb? That's legit what happened to me this week. I've barely played any video games this week because my arm hurt too bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting old's awesome.
Oh my God, it fucking sucks. It just sucks. I did, the time I did spend playing video games this week, though, because, like, legitimately, it was really just today. And Tiff is fucking super exhausted from work, so we didn't want to get into, like, finishing Metroid or doing anything more with, like, story-driven games. But they did just add Tekken 7, which has been out for a while, years at this point. They just added Tekken 7 to the PlayStation Plus catalog. So I downloaded that and have just been ripping through that. I fucking love Tekken. It's my favorite Liam Neeson film. Love fucking Tekken. He's real good in that. They added at some point over the last couple of years, there are Bullet Club and other New Japan Pro Wrestling affiliated unlockables for the characters. So currently I am playing through with the fucking treasure mode or quest mode. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. It's just a mode where like you rank up and like earn unlockables and shit. But I'm playing through as Eddie Gordo wearing a Bullet Club shirt, and it makes me unreasonably happy. It's so fucking dumb that he is wearing a Bullet Club t-shirt. The same Bullet Club shirt that I have, Chris, Eddie Gordo is wearing in the game. It's really good. Akuma's really fucking weird in that game.
I heard he's a little on the broken side.
A little bit. It's just really weird playing Akuma not with, like, Street Fighter around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not even... Because, like, the Capcom versus SNK stuff was still basically playing Street Fighter.
You're still, 2D playing and all that jazz.
2D, all, like, the regular trappings of a 2D fighting game. But Tekken is just a very, very different animal, and putting Akuma into that space is just really interesting, and it's really fucking cool. It's hard for me to use him because of how often I use Akuma in Street Fighter. It's just hard for me to break that fucking, like muscle memory and shit, which is why I often gravitate back towards like Yoshimitsu or King or Eddie Gordo or whatever. But it's really fucking cool. It's a good game, man. I really, really like it. And it's getting me more and more excited for Tekken 8, which is later this year, right? We talked about that?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to have Bullet Club merchandise, but I'm going to be really sad if it doesn't.
We're going to find out.
Find the fuck out, man. Oh, what have you been doing this week? Have you hurt any of your necessary video game appendages?
Not enough to stop playing. My left shoulder's hurt
fair.
for several months, but
it was my left shoulder too. Say twinsies.
So yeah, I don't know. That doesn't stop me from playing games. I've been playing Metroid Prime. I'm working my way through it. It's fucking wonderful. I love it.
It's so good.
It's
I don't know.
Better than
I don't know if
been.
anybody knows that it's good. It's a very under the radar game. Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, nobody. Right.
Nobody.
Happy to see it's selling super well. Happy to see that Nintendo's printing more and putting out more copies of it, and an accolades trailer. Like, game's finally getting the recognition it deserves because people can fucking play it.
Yeah.
I just wrote this whole thing. I did a video for next week actually on how crazy it is that this is widely regarded as one of the best games of all time, right? But
yeah,
it has
sure.
Every iteration of it has had some sort of bonkers control scheme that has turned off
some sort of bullshit.
Probably a very considerably large number of people from playing it, and now that barrier is gone. It looks better than it ever has before. It's the same exact game, except it looks amazing, and now everyone can just play it with standard ass controls, and it's so fucking good. It
It's
holds
so
up.
good.
Holds up extremely well. I'm just happy as a clam. The opposite side of that spectrum is I'm also pretty deep into Kid Icarus Uprising because I've been doing that Kid Icarus playthrough, and it's the same. It's the same situation as Metroid Prime was in, except so much worse. Because those control schemes for Metroid Prime were like, yeah, they're not optimal, but they're very especially the Wii version is very playable as long as you're in a room that doesn't have sun shining in the wrong place. Like they functioned. God, Kid Icarus Uprising is like, I've never been able to play the game on like I've never really been able to properly up the difficulty in it because I can't get good at it because I can't fucking play it.
It's not possible to.
I know it's definitely possible. I've seen the videos of younger people than me have been able to figure out how to play this game wonderfully. I have never been able to play it well. I've played it well enough to beat it twice, and this will be my third time because it's a long game, and it's so good. Like I was afraid after the first after I turned it on, I was like, I'm going to get to this game and it's going to be like the Star Wars prequels all over again. I'm going to realize, no, this game really isn't all that good.
Sucks?
What if I'm just, because I know myself, I'm susceptible to getting blinders on. Like, I love Kid Icarus, so of course I'm going to love Kid Icarus Uprising. And I'm like, first level, like, oh, this is really freaking good. Like, this game is great and there's so much content there. And now, especially after playing Remastered, I just can't stop thinking, like, can I just play this with a controller? Please.
It's all I want.
I just want to play this with dual analog controls. I want to be able to control where I'm looking, where I'm fighting. I want to be able to...
What a wild concept.
And just like, so I made the whole video about, like, these are the other games that Nintendo has that they absolutely need to give the Prime treatment to. And I'm not like, boy, it sure would be nice. I'm thinking like, just as much as Metroid Prime did, these games really need this. And I started with Other M, which I still maintain has enough good to make it worthwhile. I would love if somebody would just go in there and fix the fucking story. But the game's genuinely fun to play. The problem was that just like the original Prime, they were like, no, you have to do this 3D action game with a Wii remote held sideways. Yes, I know the nunchuck exists, and yes, I know the Pro Controller exists, but you are not allowed to program this game to work with either of those things. It has to be Wii remote sideways, which is fucking insane. There is zero subtlety to your movements. You have to point the Wii remote at the TV screen every time you want to fire a goddamn missile. Ugh, that game is so frustrating.
Yeah, it's so real fucking stupid.
But if it just controlled better... Yes, the story's stupid, but it's a fun enough game to play through. But regardless, the Zelda DS games, I just want to be able to move Link around myself and then press a button to attack. It was very novel and very clever the way they did the touchscreen controls. But
completely unnecessary.
That's not what I want. I want those games. I want to be able to play through those games without drawing things. Like, I just want to move around and play it like a Zelda game. Like Kid Icarus Uprising, Other M, the Zelda games, Donkey Kong Country Returns, like Tropical Freeze, great. Love that game. It's a fucking masterpiece. But Returns is great too, and that's the one that sold like a bajillion copies. And like the best we got was it was re-released on 3DS with normal person controls, but then it's on 3DS with a graphical downgrade, and it's on a tiny little 3DS that itself isn't the most comfortable thing in the world to play. Like, that game's brilliant. It needs to be re-released on modern platforms with actual normal people controls. And then, of course, the biggest one was Star Fox Zero. Because while I've beaten Kid Icarus Uprising, I can play the rest of those games. I can't play Star Fox Zero. I just can't get the hang of it. When it works, it clicks, and it's super cool. But, like, the 80% of the rest of the game where I'm fumbling through trying to pay attention to these two screens and like just let me play Star Fox. You were so close. You were so close.
We know what Star Fox is. You knew how to make that, and then you did this.
I just
whatever this is.
I just want to play a Star Fox game. Like, I just want, like, that game was so close to what we've wanted. I don't understand why they have to keep rebooting it. Like, every game is like, no, this is the first one again. Like, but the first one was the first one, and the second one was the first one. You canceled the sequel to retell the first one on N64. Stop it.
This time, you're fighting dinosaurs on a planet.
Oh, my God.
What?
I don't even hate that game.
No,
it's just like...
No,
fine.
Sure, but why?
Yeah.
Why the fuck is this happening?
And you know what? That one I would forgive just because it seemed like it was intended as a spin-off. It wasn't like, all right, this is the next Star Fox game. It was like, this is Star Fox Adventures. This is going to be a spin-off. I'm like, okay, fine. You can have that. You can have your spin-off thing.
Even
but
still.
you want to make... But could you just please make a Star Fox game? And then they did it with Assault, kind of. They added all those on-foot missions. And it's like,
Yeah,
Command has got all these strategy elements and like drawn on the screen and stuff, and it's like Star Fox Zero. Like, it looks pretty. It's Platinum Games doing ridiculous stuff with bosses. It's just a Star Fox game with some cool transformations and stuff in it, except you have to play it with this batshit crazy control scheme, and it's just come on.
Yeah, makes no sense. Come on.
If you can make Skyward Sword function,
come on,
with an analog stick, then you can do anything. And you need to do
it's just not... Just make the video game. Don't... I'm not a fucking test pilot. Whatever the fuck you got me doing. Like, knock it off.
Like, I get they were really trying
Stop
to justify the existence of the Wii U gamepad. I get it. But, like, at a certain point, enough people should have been able to tell them, no, this doesn't work. This just doesn't work. And, you know, it's the same thing with F-Zero. You know, like that infuriating interview with Miyamoto where he's like, yeah, we've been thinking about F-Zero for a while. We just can't come up with a new hook for it. It's like, you don't need a new hook. It's a racing game. You make new tracks. Drive fast.
That's it. That's the hook.
That's all you need. Have you seen Forza? Have you seen Gran Turismo? It's not like they're adding like weird new gimmicks in them. They're fucking racing games. People want to race. That's all they want to do. Could you just give me F-Zero, please?
I just look no further than the fucking Tiger Woods, whatever EA is doing with golf at this point. Like, every fucking year, you play Augusta. Like, it's the same fucking course. It just looks better. It's the same fucking thing. Maybe the pin is a little bit to the left this year. Fuck off. Like, it's the same shit. You don't need a hook. Well, see, this time with F-Zero, we decided that they're not space cars anymore. They're riding bikes.
Space
like,
bikes.
Why? Not even space bikes. They're just riding regular bikes.
BMX.
Just Captain Falcon on a BMX bike. That's the hook we get. Like, and you got to do tricks the whole time.
Yeah,
you got to be really fucking.
I don't need a hook. I don't need anything.
It's gonna be awesome.
Just
going
make
off
the
ramps
game.
and doing fucking tailspins and shit and tabletops, and it's gonna be awesome. It's fucking Captain Falcon's Pro BMX. Matt Hoffman, fuck that guy.
I know we're making fun of it, but I'd buy it.
I actually would
Falcon's
too.
Pro
Damn it,
BMX.
this is a good idea.
Shit, that's a
fuck,
good idea.
Miyamoto, call me up, man. Captain Falcon's BMX Triple X. Make it fucking happen.
All right, couple more things before we take our break and do our business here. There's a new game out called Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Yeah.
It's from Koei Tecmo.
Dean is currently streaming it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Remember my friend Jimmy who was on the show a while back? He's a voice actor.
No. You have no other friends but me, Chris.
Fair
remember
enough.
your I remember your acquaintance.
My acquaintance.
Jimmy. I remember a guy you know passingly named Jimmy.
Jimmy Yamaguchi. He's a voice actor. He's one of my oldest friends. He's in this game. He plays
that's awesome.
the character Xiahou Dun, I think is how you pronounce it. But I'm so proud of him. He's in a big ass AAA video game. That's fantastic. So,
and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
Like, on top of that,
yeah.
like, it looks pretty cool.
It does. Apparently, he was in a movie recently too. His voice acting career is finally going somewhere. And that dude, he's got a good voice. So
he does. He was in that fucking Pirates movie we were talking about. I think that's where I saw him.
So next week is going to be fucking crazy. Have you noticed that next week is going to be weirdly stacked?
No, is it?
All right, March 7th. That little handheld thing, the Playdate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's going to be a whole Playdate presentation of like updates.
Why
and
not?
Things. It's called the Playdate Update.
Fucking love that
March
thing.
7th.
That thing's so weird.
On March 8th, the Fire Emblem Engage DLC is coming out. Also on March 8th,
Jesus Christ.
the Mario Kart DLC Wave 4 is coming out. March 9th, Metroid Fusion hits Nintendo Switch Online. Also March 9th,
that's awesome.
The Mario movie final trailer gets its own direct on March 9th. Again on March 9th, a Level 5 presentation called Level 5 Vision, like a direct style presentation for Level 5 games. And Capcom is doing a presentation called Capcom Spotlight on March 9th.
Are they?
And then March 10th, the day this episode goes live, is Mario Day, where there's going to be a new Switch system bundle for $300 where you get your choice of free Mario game. A bunch of Mario games will be on sale. GameStop's doing in-store promotions all weekend, and Super Nintendo World is opening to the public. That is next week.
That's wild.
The fact that there's
That's a big week.
Level 5 Capcom and the Mario movie are like all those presentations are happening on the 9th. Like what the shit? I'm so thrilled Fusion is coming out on the 9th. I love that.
That game is so fucking good.
But here's what's freaking me out. The internet is telling me that Fusion came out the day after Prime. I don't remember that being the case. I remember those games going on sale the same day. That's how we sold them at Toys R Us. Like,
I think that's how we sold them at GameStop.
I don't get it.
I think.
I am 99.
Maybe I'm thinking I might be
wrong.
No,
you're not wrong. I remember opening those boxes. I remember that. They were both on sale the same day, but I feel like Wikipedia's or somewhere they got written down that they launched on different days, and I just don't think that's true.
I'll go fucking edit it.
I don't even know how to
fix it.
I don't feel like it.
Wikipedia.
I don't know how to edit Wikipedia, and I don't feel like learning. Damn it!
Ask Siri.
It just seems like one of those things where history is
Mandela affecting.
I saw those games released in my store on the same day. I'll tell you that for free. Because I remember taking them both home.
That's how I remember it.
That's how Dad did it. That's how America
does it.
It's worked out pretty well so far.
It hasn't, but we keep telling ourselves that. True. Go America. Yay. Woo. And the Rockets red glare. Play ball. What? Where am I? Fuck. There's a Twitter thread. This is completely apropos nothing. Just America. There's a fucking Twitter thread where the guy was like, all the presidents, except they're cool and have mullets. And he fucking digitally painted all of them with aviator sunglasses and fucking mullets, and it looks great.
Did you see the Barack Obama was mediating Joe Biden and Donald Trump doing a Zelda tier list?
Jesus.
It's all the voices are all done with AI, and they're remarkably spot on, except for how coherent they are.
What a stupid use of resources.
It was really funny.
Have you figured out how to feed homeless people? Nope.
Oh, we can do this.
I did this shit
all day long. All right, we are going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we are going to go through our Nintendo DS starter kits. We got a couple from our Discord users as well. And
I gave you guys an extra week.
Yeah.
You did not come with the fucking fury that I expected. Very disappointed. We're upping the tiers by $1.
No, you know what? I'm happy with the number that's on here because I
know, I'm just fun.
I have a long night ahead of me, a long day ahead of me, a long life ahead of me. So we're going to go ahead and take our break.
That's what she said?
Yes. When we come back, we're going to do our DS starter kit. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and geekade.com.
First up, Kris, how long? How long have I been talking about rotoscoping?
Man, you talk about rotoscoping every morning.
I do it all day. Every day, Kris. Rotoscoping. It's twice on Sundays, because I don't go to church. What else am I going to do with my free time? Football's over. I fucking rotoscope. That's what I do. Who doesn't love a good rotoscoping every now and then, right?
Sounds dirty when you say it.
Doesn't everything? That's what you pay me for. I'll tell you who loved it more than most, though. The people who made the Super NES classic Flashback. That game is rotoscoped to bejesus and back. Everywhere you look. Rotoscope. It's lousy with the stuff. But what do Greg and Joe think of rotoscoping? We'll find out in the SNES podcast, episode 206, Flashback. It's got rotoscoping.
Damn right it does. You know what doesn't have rotoscoping? Me.
Everything else, because everything else sucks.
Have you ever been standing outside in a thunderstorm, no rotoscoping anywhere, but with full body suit of armor on? It's a terrible idea, especially if you're planning on going swimming.
That's where I was. I was in a pool. Full body suit of armor in a fucking lightning storm. It's like, bring it, God.
You know, I don't know why this pops into my head as often as it does, but there is a joke in Dragon Ball Z Abridged where Frieza, he says something, and if I'm lying, then may God strike me down, and then he gets struck by lightning, and it's animated in the original show. He just stands there, and lightning strikes him or whatever, like he's powering up. But they made this joke as if it was God striking him by lightning, and he says, "Ha!" He says, "Ha! Nice try, jackass. Next time, give it your A game." And I think about that all the time. Awesome. I think about that line all the time.
That's a good line. Nice try, jackass. Next time, give it your A game. That's fucking great.
Fucking great. Anyway, it is, however, a thing. The suit of armor. Getting back to the script, suit of armor. It's a thing that you can do in the Nintendo Switch's launch classic, Breath of the Wild. You know what else you can do in that game? Listen to its fantastic soundtrack. In fact, that's just what me and Matt did when we recorded our latest episode of Waveback in celebration of the game's 6-year anniversary. So if you like the sound of beautiful music and the occasional sounds of a cat walking across a piano, be sure to tune in to Waveback episode 160, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
160 episodes, dear God.
Chump change compared to this old-ass show.
No, well, sure, but, I mean, just fuck, man. Finally, Transformers. Fucking awesome. Like red and yellow socks. Fucking awesome. But like most things, they're even better when they're British. That's just... I don't know that I don't know the true words have ever been fucking spoken on this show. That's why you'll want to hear the latest episode of Sparkcast, because they're covering another UK audiobook. There's also a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff where you can hear the crew setting up to record, because they've got new mics, and, well, it's always fun. Check out Sparkcast episode 73, UK audio adventure, Menace at the Dam.
For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com. Hi, we are back. It's time for the Nintendo DS Starter Kit. If you're new around these parts, our starter kits are, if you had $100 to start a physical collection for a video game system where you don't need any of the accessories, all accessories and hardware are included, you just want to collect games and get the most bang for your buck, what games should you get? Yes, we know flashcards exist. We know that this is a silly thing. The idea is just to have the conversation. It's like solving a puzzle.
That's right.
It's fun. It's fun for conversation's sake. We're not actually suggesting this. But, so we came up with our lists, and you guys came up with your lists. What do you think we should do? Should we do the listeners first, or should we do ours first?
We got to do ours first, because then the listeners steal our thunder, and we're like, well, we already talked about that fucking game, so I'll just move on.
Good point.
But we want to do that to the listeners.
That's right.
That's what they're here for. They're here to listen to our bullshit.
All right, well, I have a lot more games than you do, apparently.
You really do. You have almost double.
I made some cuts. I made some serious cuts.
I'm so interested to see, like, where you went with this, because, man, like, I had to cut another game off of my list today, because I made the list last week when I was supposed to have already had the list done. But then I rechecked all of the prices today to make sure it was 100% accurate. I don't know. I haven't done that for like very many of the other ones. But
I didn't do
this
that.
one. And I had to like fucking take a game. I was like, oh fuck, all right. So I took a game off, and now I'm down to 8 games at $100 even. But whatever.
Well,
Fuck
this
it.
list was accurate, I don't know, a little over a week ago. I didn't go back to recheck because I've been
6 months ago. This was a very
busy.
accurate list.
All right, well, we included, there was, obviously the DS was easier to do because the collector's market hasn't gone completely batshit insane. Also, it's region free, so we could include Japanese and PAL games, as long as the games didn't involve a whole lot of text that you need to get through. So my first game on my list for a whopping $3 is Brain Age 2. Because Brain Age was one of those games that's just kind of... it was such an important part of the DS experience with that original Brain Age, and its follow-up was a massive success as well. And it's got like a really cool touchscreen version of Dr. Mario in it. Brain Age 2 is great, and for $3, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I cut. I get it. Like, I really did want to... as I'm making the list, I'm looking at it. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I really should put, like, Brain Age or a fucking Mahjong or a Sudoku bullshit on there, because they're just synonymous with the system. But I didn't, because I made choices.
Well, what's your first choice?
Advance Wars Days of Ruin. It's not my favorite Advance Wars game on the DS. However, the PAL version, which is called Dark Conflict, was only $11. And I fucking love the Advance Wars games. This one is really good. It's obviously, as you can tell from the title, a bit darker. It's a little bit more mature than the other ones, but it ultimately still has the core gameplay, which is just so good. It's just so fucking fun to continue to play through. And they really, like, with some of the little, like, graphical things that they did with the management on one screen and bigger tanks and shit on the other screen. Like, it's fucking good, man. It's Advance Wars. It's $11. It's awesome. You should have it. And it's wild, the difference in price, because Advance Wars Dark Conflict, the PAL version, is $11. Advance Wars Days of Ruin, the American version, is $29. Same game.
Yeah, none of the Advance Wars games made my list because I don't know them.
You haven't played them.
I haven't played them.
If you had played them, I do believe that you would have had to squeeze one on here.
Well, pretty soon that may be the case.
Yeah. It's like I said, it is not my favorite Advance Wars game. Everything got a little grittier. It's a lot more brown than they used to be. But it's still really, really good. Like, the core gameplay mechanic is still really, really good. It's too serious for its own good, and the characters aren't as cute and as fun, and they tried to mature it too much and all of those things. But for $11, it's fucking great.
Well, there you go. Not a bad choice. Well, they come really, really opposite end of the spectrum as far as price goes. For a whopping $2, my next pick is the excellent Dig Dug Digging Strike, the Japanese version. This was, I could afford it. It was $2 left, and this one, it wasn't like I was seeking out. You usually get to the end of the list, and you're like, all right, what cheap ass games can I add to this? This one was one of my original just picks, and it turned out to be cheap as fuck. So I was very happy.
Love it when that happens.
I love this game, and I can't imagine the Japanese version. There's a story, but that's not what you're here for. You're not.
But is that really what you're playing Dig Dug for?
Yeah,
the story.
You're not here for Dig Dug's deep lore. So what's cool about Dig Dug Digging Strike is that it's a really clever combination of both Dig Dug 1 and 2. So the original Dig Dug, everybody knows that game. You're digging underground and blowing up monsters and stuff.
Pretty basic.
Dig Dug 2 is like they put you above ground on that one, and you would have to like drill these specific spots to make pieces of the island that you're on fall down to knock the monsters into the ocean. And what they did was
pretty wild.
It is pretty wild. It's a fun game. I used to play it all the time on NES. I really liked that game a lot. So what Digging Strike did was it combined the two of them, where the top screen is Dig Dug 2 and the bottom screen is Dig Dug 1. And instead of drilling the chunks of the island off, the top screen has these like spots where you can go underground, and you have to dig underneath these giant stakes. And once the stakes make their way down far enough, then they will carve off a chunk of the island up top to get rid of some monsters. It's a really clever game. I thought it was a blast. I played through the whole thing. I haven't gone back to it because I tend to not go back to my DS games as much as I'd want to, because I don't have as good a time playing on that system these days. But the game itself, I think, is really freaking clever, and like another game on my list, it just doesn't get the recognition I think it deserves. And for $2, you'd be insane not to get it. It's such a early DS games in particular had this great way of making really clever use of the whole dual screen mechanic. Whereas like you think of the Wii U and like Nintendo Land and Zombie U were like, wow, this is awesome. And then pretty much everybody else who was doing dual screen things, it was just kind of there. It was this like thing they had to do. Where DS was the total opposite of that, where it was just one thing after another of just these really clever uses for not just the touch screen, but using both screens for different things at the same time. I thought it was brilliant. So Dig Dug Digging Strike, big fat thumbs up from me.
Right on. Well, then going to the most expensive game on my list, and I really waffled on whether or not I should include it, but fucking Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah, I understand. It didn't make my list. There was too many other important things.
I know.
It's
$31.
Yeah, when I had
like
it was
is
$32.
by far.
It's so expensive, even loose.
It's by far the most expensive game on my list.
But it's absolutely worth $32. Like outside of the 100% of this conversation, it is 100% worth $32. That game, it's one of the best games ever. It's great.
Yeah. And like looking, I had to have a Castlevania game on here. One, because Mike would yell at me if I didn't. But two, they're also the Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance are my favorite games on that system. My favorite games on this system are the Castlevania games. So I feel like if we are talking about the thing that the DS did better than anything else, the Castlevania games are incredible. And looking at the three that are available, you've got Dawn of Sorrow, which is the direct sequel to Aria of Sorrow. Then you've got Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia. Order of Ecclesia is $58. Portrait of Ruin is $33. I think Dawn of Sorrow is the best one of those three, and it's the cheapest.
It's my favorite.
You have to have it. It's fucking incredible. It's when we did our Castlevania ranking episode, you know, we talked a whole bunch about it, but this game is it's a fucking masterpiece, man. It's just brilliant.
No arguments.
It's just brilliant. You have to have it. It's $31, and that, like, for the purposes of, you know, like you said, outside of this conversation, but I believe this game is so good that even within the confines of taking up basically a third of the budget, I think it's that good.
Yeah, I couldn't justify the amount of games I had to take off for it, but you know, I certainly don't hold it against you.
Yeah. God damn it, I love that game.
Well, the next one
I want them to find a way to bring that to the virtual console. I don't know how. But I want it.
Those that wouldn't be a problem. If they can put what was the second screen on those things was just drawing the runes, that is nothing. You do not need to have that be interactive. And the rest of it's just the map.
Well, and you can do that with the right analog stick.
If you really needed
well
to.
Enough.
You don't even need that mechanic at all. You don't. You just select the rune that you want to be on the screen. Bring it up from a menu.
Yeah, I would be totally fine with that.
Do not need to draw the runes. It adds nothing to the gameplay. And the rest of it's just the map, which other Castlevania games, you just press the button and have it show overlay on the screen for a second. It's fine. All three of those DS Castlevania games need to get ported. They need to.
They really do.
The fact that they didn't
really
hit the
do.
Wii U Virtual Console is a fucking travesty.
Yeah.
All right, my next game. This is another one of those. It's one of the games on this platform. And the fact that it is still so cheap, even the NTSC one, but the PAL one was a little bit cheaper, is the Elite Beat Agents for $12.
Yep, almost made my list.
This was tough because in my heart of hearts, the first one that I go to is Rhythm Heaven, but the cheapest version of that on DS is $43 goddamn dollars. It's one of my favorite games in the system, but it's not worth
$43.
It's just, see, I disagree. I think Rhythm Heaven is worth $43 on its own.
Really?
I do. Just barely. That game's great. I bought it for $40 new when it came out. I still think it is worth that price.
Suppose.
It sucks, but it's a great game, and it's definitely worth that. However, Elite Beat Agents is such a unique experience. I'm so sad that this didn't turn into a series, because it is a series in Japan. But the Japanese ones are legit different games. They different characters, different songs. The Elite Beat Agents, this is over-the-top cheerleading squad. It's just these dudes that go out and solve your problems by cheering for you.
Which I feel like we could all use a little bit of.
We're really good. It's so insane. It's funny. It's fun. The music is great. And the act of actually tapping, like, you're not just tapping along, you're dragging things, you're drawing things. It's all done to the rhythm. It's just it's such a clever game, and it can only really be done on the DS. It has to be done with a touchscreen. It's one of those games that was designed with this platform in mind, and doing anything to replace that, I don't know, that might not necessarily be true, because I just thought of how good Guitar Man is, which is a similar kind of experience. So I guess they could probably get away with an Elite Beat Agents with analog sticks. I wonder how well that would work.
There's a way to do it.
Because I remember, it literally just occurred to me. I'm like, yeah, you would drag that ball across the screen. And I was like, well, wait a second. In Guitar Man, you'd hold a button down, and then you would just like point the analog stick to try to draw along the line. That worked. That worked really well. So they could totally make a new Elite Beat Agents. Damn it! Bring me Elite Beat Agents. Agents are go. I love this game.
But
love it so much.
It's one of the games, like you said, that was really designed with the DS in mind, that didn't hamper an otherwise established game.
True. It didn't, and it was very much, it was designed intelligently around the system's capabilities, because there is a place for touchscreen gaming. Absolutely. There's some really
100%.
really clever stuff that's been done with dual screen and touchscreen gaming. There absolutely has. And I'm glad that it exists. And this is one of those games that just, it fits so perfectly on the DS. I love that.
But shoehorning shit like Kid Icarus into it, like you talked about earlier, that this is not that. This is intelligently designed within, and it's interesting too, because when we talk about the 3DS Kid Icarus, you're talking about that game with the limitations of the system, whereas with Elite Beat Agents, you're talking about the capabilities of the system.
Yeah, the thing with Kid Icarus is such an interesting thing, because like there's such a clear vision going on of like, no, I get this. This control scheme works, and like, of course, Sakurai can do it. That guy's inhuman. Have you seen him play Smash Brothers against himself with a controller in each hand? That guy's not human. So of course he could do this. No freaking problem. But like for the rest of us, no, that doesn't work.
Speaking of Smash Brothers, I stumbled across a YouTube video like today or the other day. It was Super Smash Brothers, but they're all their actual sizes. It was like tiny little Kirby and like giant fucking King K. Rool. It was very fun.
All right. Silly. Well, yeah, Elite Beat Agents, phenomenal game. What's next on your list?
All right. The next game on my list, I'm almost 100% positive did not make your list. And the bundle with the peripheral you needed was actually cheaper than just the game by itself. But I am endlessly fascinated by how well Guitar Hero On Tour worked for the DS, and it's $4.
See, I have the PAL version on my list for $3 because you're 100%
Son of a bitch!
right.
I would have had an extra $1 to not put to anything.
Guitar Hero On Tour is fucking genius.
It's so good. Why does that work so well? It shouldn't. It should, but it really does.
It really does.
They really nailed it.
I remember seeing the picture of that and being like, I'm sorry, what? And then when I got the unit in the store and I put it in my hands, you plug the guitar, like the button peripheral, into the Game Boy Advance slot on the bottom of your DS.
Yeah.
You hold it sideways, and it's comfortable holding it that way, like a
It
book.
is.
And then you use the touchscreen to strum, and your fingers
with
on the
a little
four little
pick
buttons.
stylus. Oh, it was so fun.
It was great because Guitar Hero was a great game, and just God, the way they adapted that to the freaking DS,
So smart.
It was so smart, so fun, so clever. It worked incredibly well. Like your hand was never blocking the screen because the screen's off to the right. You're just looking at it, strumming along, pressing the buttons. It was comfortable. It's just
great,
just genius.
Really, really fun.
That absolutely made my list for $3.
I wasn't sure if it would. Well, it's $4 now. So,
son of a
you're
bitch.
Fucking lie. You're lying to the listeners, Kris.
That's what I do.
All right. Well, my next game, the next game in my alphabetical list here starts with an M. So if you've got anything between G and M, feel free to fucking wail away.
All right, I've got 2 in between G and M.
All right.
Next up is another just incredible use of the dual screens, and that is the PAL version of Henry Hatsworth for $7.
Yeah.
I
stuff.
love this game. I've never been able to finish it because it got really hard. That's what she said.
Yeah, it did. No. Zing.
This is, if you've never played this game before, Henry Hatsworth and the Puzzling Adventure. It is a 2D platformer on the top screen and basically panel to pawn on the bottom screen. And you have to kind of sort of play them both at the same time. Like, the puzzle game is constantly like slowly moving up from the bottom. And then you have to like pause the top screen to like jump down to the bottom and make a bunch of combinations so that a bunch of monsters don't show up on the top screen to kill you. It's genius the way that it works. But on top of all that, you're this like super British explorer who like has to stop for tea time and then jump into a giant mech and destroy everything. This game is so weird. It's got such a great personality. I love the character designs. The voice acting is great. It is a marvelous game. Henry Hatsworth, the Puzzling Adventure, so worth $7 for the PAL version.
It is very, very cool.
Love that game.
It is a very cool little game. And it is one of the most stress-inducing games.
Yeah, it is.
That's
a tough game.
God damn it. I gotta do the thing, but then there's shit up here, but then I gotta, son of a bitch. Yeah, that game's fucking stressful.
What you got?
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, right, I had a second one.
M. How dare you forget already?
This is actually my most expensive one on the list at $17, the Japanese version of Kirby Canvas Curse. This was another one that...
Shockingly, no Kirby games made my list.
Yeah, not a big surprise here. I struggled with this one because of its price, but I do think that this was the first DS game that really showed that like a 2D platformer type game could work extremely well using just the touchscreen. And unlike the Zelda game where it was like, okay, this is really cool and interesting, but I'd still rather just be moving the character around myself. This one was not that at all. This game was about drawing a line to like build a bridge, like a little path for Kirby to roll around on, and it was genius. Its follow-up was tragic because that was on the Wii U, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. And it was fine as far as like the actual gameplay was still sound, but the problem was the Wii U hardware because what made this work on the DS was that both screens are right next to each other. You really need to be paying attention to what's happening in both places, right? And on the Wii U, because your TV screen is there and the other screen's in your hand, it's much harder to pay attention to both those screens at the exact same time. Also, so you wind up while you're playing it most of the time just looking at the Wii U gamepad, which is ridiculously low resolution. And the game had this gorgeous claymation style that you never see while you're playing because the handheld, the gamepad can't display enough high definition visuals to make that claymation thing work. God, when you're watching it on a TV, it's jaw-droppingly gorgeous. Canvas Curse doesn't have that problem. It's not the most amazing looking DS game ever, but it's cute. It's got bright, colorful characters, but it is incredibly clever. And it's again, I would consider it a quintessential DS experience. It's just an important thing to have in your DS library, I think. Important enough to warrant the $17 price tag.
All right.
So what's your M game?
I would have to imagine that the PAL version of Mario Kart DS made your list. I could be wrong.
It did not. I actually wound up cutting that one.
Son of a bitch. I really like the Mario Kart DS game.
I love it. That really hurt me.
DS game.
That really hurt me to cut, but I had other things in mind. It was really between, the Kirby Canvas Curse and that I waffled back and forth on. I thought to myself, Canvas Curse does more with the DS itself, which is why it wound up staying and Mario Kart went, because at the end of the day, it's just Mario Kart.
It's just Mario Kart.
It's phenomenal, but it doesn't really highlight the DS as a system.
It does not. It does not. I just think it's a really, really good version of Mario Kart.
I agree. It's great. I love that game.
And it's $9, man. Like, $9 Mario Kart that is as good as the DS version is. Like, that's fucking unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Mario Kart games are expensive most of the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, no.
What else do I need to fucking say about fucking Mario Kart?
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Well, I'll follow that up with another $2 game. Just because I looked for what's the cheapest version of the many versions of this that's out there, and that would be the Japanese version of Nintendogs Miniature Ducks and Friends. It's $2, and you got it's for $2. You got to have Nintendogs on your list. Like, talk about another freaking phenomenon. You pet these adorable virtual dogs. I cannot believe that Nintendo opened a mobile division and has not put Nintendogs on phones everywhere.
How we are not all out walking our virtual Nintendogs.
I am offended.
Yeah,
it's really weird. Absolute monsters. Because seriously, can I just my daughter would insist on having a phone. Like, she would lose her fucking mind at Nintendogs, which is one of the reasons I haven't shown it to her yet. Because I feel like I'd never get my DS back from her. It's just...
That's very possible, but you don't want to play your DS anymore, so...
That's true.
Nintendogs
was great. It was so cool, and it worked so well with the DS and being able to fold it in half and put it in insta sleep mode and carry it in your pocket with you and stuff. The fact that it's not on phones it just forever boggle my mind. I don't understand it, but here we are. How they put it on 3DS? Why isn't it on Switch? Come on.
Yes.
Come on. There's a touchscreen on the Switch.
It's real dumb.
Nintendo's is great. Dumb. $2. What's your next? I'm angry now. What's your next?
Well, I also have a game that starts with N, but it is not Nintendogs. It is Nanostray. The PAL version of Nanostray is $11. You know how much I love fucking shooters.
Yep.
I love shmups. Nanostray is an excellent fucking shmup. It really is just an outstanding shooter. The graphics look really awesome. It feels like, man, looking at it, I look at it, I'm fucking reminded of Ikaruga, which is a very, very high compliment. Do not play the same at all, but it just gives me a very similar kind of vibe playing through those games of this is just a really well-made shooter that's really, it's really well balanced. Everything just kind of makes sense in the interactions throughout the levels, the fucking weapon design, everything is just really, really well done. Graphically, it looks great. There's a little bit of weirdness with the way it controls of selecting the different weapons and whatnot, but again, it's one of those things where it doesn't overall hamper the gameplay experience. It's like, I mean, you could have done this a little bit differently, but this is fine for what it is. And for $11, really, really awesome game.
Nice. Yeah, Nano Stray's cool as hell. Really good looking game. Very attractive.
Yeah, like that. Like I'm saying, like when I look at it, I get the same kind of interesting vibes because I think Ikaruga is one of the most interesting looking shooters I've played, and it's kind of got that weird 3D visual thing going on. I don't know. They feel very much of the same world to me.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this one falls in a similar situation as Dig Dug Digging Strike, as a Namco joint that I don't understand why this game's worthless. The PAL version was the cheapest one. It's $4. And this is Pack Picks. I don't understand what, like, people genuinely didn't like this game, and I will never understand it. Like, I thought this game was brilliant. So you draw little Pac-Mans, and then you direct them around the screen to eat the ghosts. And it's kind of like this wacky little puzzle game where, like, no matter how goofy ass your Pac-Man looks, as long as it can be recognized as a Pac-Man, it will then animate and come to life, and you steer it around the screen. And then, the bigger your Pac-Man is, the more it can eat, but the slower it moves. And it takes advantage.
Which is an interesting little puzzle mechanic.
It is. It's pretty neat because you got to draw them like the right size to fit into certain places and to get to the ghosts that are trying to get away from you. And you can like go up into the top screen that kind of works as like those little warp points from the original Pac-Man. It's a super clever game. It's got a great soundtrack, a really cool visual style, and it's literally bringing your drawings to life. It's great. It's $4. I love it. Pack Picks is great.
It's a fucking neat little game. Not even something I considered. Like, it's because you're right. It's one of those games that I constantly forget about.
Everyone forgets about it. Because it didn't review very well. People thought it was just like this was the thing that really bugged me about it, was a lot of people kept saying like, oh, it's just like a glorified tech demo. It's like, the fuck do you want out of this thing? It's like, it's a $20 game. They're not charging you for non-tech demo prices. And it's not just a tech demo. They took an interesting concept and they fleshed it out into a game. Like, I think it's great.
A neat little thing.
Yeah, it is a neat little thing. It's never been ported to anything because it's such a DS game. You need that touchscreen element. That's the point, is it's bringing your drawings to life, no matter how crappy they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, your turn.
Next on my list, again, I imagine one of these made your list. Other people will argue that it does matter which one. But for $12, the PAL version of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All, I feel like you have to have a Phoenix Wright game on there as well. And that was the cheapest one.
Yeah, the one I saw was the North American one for $15, but yeah, sure, that's next on my list. And it was Justice for All, which I know is arguably I think it's most people's least favorite on the DS, but even that is still really good.
But that's what I'm saying. Like this and my next game both kind of fall into that same category of like you got to have one of these.
Yeah, and
you just have it. It's so distinctly of that time. The portability of that system combined with a game play style that was that kind of game never really took off here in the States until Phoenix Wright. Right? I'm not misremembering that, am I?
Say that again. I got distracted by the message.
I got distracted by porn. That type of game never really took off in the States until Phoenix Wright.
Not really, especially because I think you're right about it being on the DS, because it was like having a book with you know.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in here, read, on my ride
play
to
a
work,
chapter, and then close it back up.
It was just the perfect vehicle to consume that type of game.
Agreed.
And we just never had that before. Whereas in Japan, those sorts of games have been popular forever.
In fact, the first Phoenix Wright was a Game Boy Advance game that got ported to the DS for the American release.
I would even argue that those types of games have not been popular since Phoenix Wright. Certainly not to the level that Phoenix Wright was. We still have like the narrative adventures and whatnot, but I don't know, just Phoenix Wright was such a big deal for a while. It felt like it was like, oh, this is becoming another like kind of tentpole thing for Nintendo. Even though it's not theirs, it's Capcom and whatever. It just felt so identifiable with the system. And Injustice for All is good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, next up on my list, I had to have a Picross on there. But the thing was,
it'd be weird if you didn't.
I decided that if I'm going to do just one, that I wanted to do one of the Picross 3D games because they are exclusive to the DS, and they're a different animal. They're just as good as Picross. They take a little bit longer to wrap your head around, I think, but they're genius. The PAL version of Picross 3D Round 2 is a whopping $6, and that is my next pick because it's Picross, except you're doing it on a 3D sculpture instead of a flat drawing, and it's genius. And I was obsessed with it for a long time, and I'd love to go back to it.
Yeah, I've never been able to get into them the way that you do, and I'm certainly not going to argue with you. Like I see the appeal. It just doesn't click for me, and I don't know why. I feel like it really should. I am super bad at math. Like, just fucking lousy with it. Thankfully, like, all of my high school teachers were wrong. They're like, you're not going to have a fucking calculator in your pocket. Oh, the fuck I won't. I turn my phone sideways. It's got a bunch of shit. I don't even know what to do with it. There's a bunch of like little calculators. Like, what the fuck I need all that for? Stop it. I'm just trying to add up my groceries so I don't go broke this week. Anyway, that was depressing. Next game on my list is fucking Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box. I don't imagine any Professor Layton games made your list because you hate them because you hate fun. But this one is the PAL version again, only $6. You have to have one of the Professor Layton games on here. The PAL versions are much, much cheaper than the American versions. Like, distressingly so. It's wild. But they are just really, really awesome puzzle games, really clever puzzles, mysteries to solve, if you will, your very own Sherlock Holmes type adventure. Professor Layton's a really cool character. They're just really, really intelligent. And yes, they are hard. Like, these are not easy games to get through, especially when you start getting towards the end of them. They are really, really cleverly designed puzzles. But when you do crack it, I don't know that there's any game that you feel as good getting through as a Professor Layton game.
It's also bad if you're stupid like me.
Sure. Well, yeah. There might not be any game that makes you feel worse about yourself because, like, yeah,
I'm early on and I feel like I should be getting through this, but I'm not. So.
Yeah. If you think back to like some of the early like point and click adventure games, like on PC and whatnot, like a lot of the Scum Engine games and whatnot, those games don't make any fucking sense. You're just clicking on shit randomly until it's like, oh, okay, well that did a thing. I'll move on. You almost feel lucky at a certain point with some of those. Whereas the Professor Layton games are so intentionally designed. They're so clever. It's just, I fucking love them. Love them to pieces.
It did, in fact, make my list.
What? Look, you hate them.
I don't. I'm terrible at them. And I will never finish them, but I do think that they are a very important part of the DS library.
All right.
So I went
Look at me not knowing you at all. Maybe Jimmy is your best friend.
I was surprised you didn't go with this one. Because the PAL version of the first one, Curious Village, is all of $3. And that's the one that I went with.
Is it still only $3? God damn it.
$3.49. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, man. I would have had $4 total to still not add any other games to my list. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so that's the one that I went with. That's the one that I had played some of. I figure if you have the option to start from the beginning, go for it. And
yeah, they're just really great.
They're well done games, and that's why I made my list. Like it is a great game. The fact that I suck at it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try it. And if you're starting out and learning what the DS was all about, Professor Layton's a big part of that. They're just as big as Ace Attorney. So I say do it.
All right. Do it.
I got 4 left. What do you got?
I got 1, and it starts with a Z.
Okay. All right, then you're going to finish us off.
All right.
Next up, PAL version of Scribblenauts for $3.
Yeah, I really considered that one, too.
You still could. You could change to Curious Village, and there's your $3 for Scribblenauts.
Nope, not doing it.
Son of a bitch. Scribblenauts is great. The original Scribblenauts was just this lightning in a bottle piece of magic that they tried to really franchise, and they beat it into the ground. It didn't really work. But the first one was this really cute, clever, interesting thing, and taken as its own unique little thing. Just that first one, and maybe the second one, Super Scribblenauts, where they added adjectives.
Yeah.
If you've never heard of Scribblenauts before, if you've forgotten about it, it's the game where whatever word you write, it shows up in the game, and then you have to try and solve a puzzle. Now, eventually, you just determine that either writing black hole or velociraptor can solve all your problems.
Instead of writing boobs like I tried to. That didn't fix any of the game's problems. It does fix my problems usually, though.
It's a neat game, and I love it to death. So for $3, PAL version of Scribblenauts gets the list.
Yeah, no, it's really, really awesome. They did go like that, and what was the other one? Drawn to Life.
Drawn to Life was really clever. Locke's Quest,
but they tried
too.
But they tried to fucking franchise the shit out of that one too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, what? No, that's not what this is, guys.
Yeah,
isn't there like a Drawn to Life DC or like a Scribblenauts DC comics?
Scribblenauts, yeah. Drawn to Life got Drawn to Life 2, but Scribblenauts was the one that's had like 13 sequels because the first one was a genuine sensation, and Warner Brothers was just necessary. Like, all right, this is a thing now. These are the characters. It's like, nah, it's a neat concept. It's a fun thing. Let's keep it special. Let's keep it small. And they didn't.
Yeah.
None of the sequels have really added up. Next up on my list is probably one of the best versions of this ever made, which is Tetris DS. The PAL version goes for really $6. It's not just Tetris. This has a bunch of different versions of Tetris in it that are really, really good and also pretty unique to the DS. There's this great puzzle mode, Touch Tetris, where everything is NES game theme, which is great. Like Metroid, Zelda, Super Mario Brothers, Excite Bike, and Balloon Fight. And so they got this Touch Tetris thing where you have to like slide the blocks around in this like interesting puzzle thing. Like they're all just already stacked up, and you need to try to fit them in like a puzzle to make the lines happen by twisting them and shifting them about. It's brilliant. You've got the Metroid themed one. I forget what it's called, but it's you control this like single square, and you can like rotate the square around and make like a Tetris ball. Like all these different Tetris pieces will stick to whatever side you stick them on, and then you have to make squares out of it. That's a really fun, clever thing. There's the puzzle mode, where like mission mode, where that one's the Zelda themed thing, where it'll be like, all right,
really cool.
Make 4 lines with this shape, only using this shape or something like that, and they just kind of go rapid fire over and over and over again. That's super fun. Obviously, endless mode is endless mode. That's like starts off with Super Mario Brothers, but it goes through everything from Excite Bike to Clue Land, the Devil World, all the way around. Even Tetris. There's a Tetris themed level, which is very meta. One of the coolest things in that was there's this great versus mode called Push Mode, where so you're on one screen and your opponent's on the other screen, and you play this wirelessly, and so you can always see where your opponent is. And the idea is the more lines you make, the more you're pushing where the bottom of your screen is into the top of the opponent's screen. So you're making their screen smaller, like, and the idea is to push them off the bottom of their screen. And so you're like constantly playing with each other's reverse gravity. So like when you open, if you have an opening across the bottom, your block will fall straight through into your other person's screen and like just kind of zip all the way down. It's a wild game. It's really, really great. One of the coolest multiplayer Tetrises I've ever seen. Tetris DS is without a doubt one of the best Tetris games anyone's ever put together. And I love the packaging, the way it's all wrapped up in the classic NES games. It's genius. I hope so very much that it shows up on some platform someday. Next up is one that I'm genuinely surprised did not make your list, is the PAL version of the original Trauma Center for $6.
Just barely did not.
I mean,
like just barely.
It's a completely
and I don't even
bonkers surgery
I don't even
game.
feel good. Yeah, no, it's fucking awesome. I don't even feel good about the last game on my list, but I feel like I had to put it there. I caved to the pressure that nobody was putting me under.
That's weird. Weird.
Yeah, it is weird, but I did.
Trauma Center was one of those early DS games where everyone was like, I'm sorry, what is it? You're a surgeon? Yeah, you're a surgeon with the stylus. It's freaking weird.
That's right. It's awesome.
It is so very weird in the most wonderful way. Trauma Center's great. And then my last one, WarioWare Touched, because nothing shows off Nintendo gimmicky hardware better than Wario. WarioWare games, like...
It's very true.
They're all great, especially the ones that are centered around, like, Touched was amazing. Because it just took advantage of the DS hardware in all these funny and unique ways. Just like Game & Wario went crazy on the Wii U, WarioWare Smooth
DIY
Moves,
micro mini games.
Smooth Moves on the Wii. Oh my god, genius! And Touched is just a wonderful game. The PAL version is $9. I think the American version that's like stupid expensive.
Yeah, the price discrepancy between PAL and American in DS games is really strange.
Yeah, it's the Japanese version is $6.83, but I felt like there was a language barrier in that one, so I went with the PAL version.
A bit, yeah.
But the DS version is $17.94, which that's not terrible, but more than I had. So that's my list. How'd you finish your list off? What's the Z game? Zoo Cube?
Yes. Zelda Phantom Hourglass.
Oh, see, I would have put that under L.
Yeah, that's fair. It's $16, the PAL version of it. And like I said, I don't feel super great about including it. But it is a really good Zelda game that works really well with what they were doing with the DS, or what they were trying to make happen. Whereas, again, not to keep bashing on it, but like I still feel like Kid Icarus is fucking unplayable. What they did with the Zelda games on the DS worked. Would I prefer it to be a different way? 100%. Do I find it as disruptive as other games? Not even a little bit. And this game looks really, really good. I do really like the mechanic of like drawing my sea route, my seafaring quest route on the map and like sailing. That's kind of fun. It's good. It's a good game. I don't know. If I did this a month from now, I might have different games on here, but I do feel like you should have one of the you should have some representation from the Legend of Zelda franchise on here, and Phantom Hourglass is $16. I know that there are people out there that love this game a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
I
feel like I
know you're not.
I feel like I might be someday. Like, I'm gonna give it a proper try. I got them on the Wii U Virtual Console, so I can play them on the TV. Yeah. It's just, you're following up.
It really works.
You're following my favorite game ever, and every time I've tried to play through this game, I think I've given it 3 proper goes, and every single time I've been bored to tears.
Yeah,
and I think
I can see that.
I think Linebeck's a stupid character. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue with you. Like I said, I don't feel great about it, but I feel like it has to be on there. I don't know why I felt. Like I said, nobody pressured me.
Yeah,
I was just doing this by myself.
I don't either. But all right, well, let's see.
I could have put Trauma Center on there, and
you sure could have
switched a couple things around and gotten like I probably should have, but I didn't. Sticking with my list.
Well, let's see what what are the things that we cut. My heartbreaking cuts were Rhythm Heaven at $43, Metroid Prime Pinball at $39. Jesus Christ. Contra 4 at $26, Arkanoid DS, Sonic Rush, Mario Kart DS, N+, Space Invaders Extreme, New Super Mario Brothers, Clubhouse Games, and Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did I have on here? Mega Man Zero Collection, I really, really like the Zero games, $19, not a crazy price. The Advance Wars Dual Strike, which I like better than Dark Conflict or Days of Ruin. But that one was $6 more than Days of Ruin. The other Castlevanias, obviously, Golden Sun, Dark Dawn, that's $20. The not for resale version is cheaper than the actual version. I fucking love the Golden Sun games. This was really good. Metroid Prime Pinball, like you said. I really wanted to try and squeeze in one of the Pokemon games. But they're very expensive. Like, I almost got Pearl on there. The PAL version of Pearl is $21. But it's Pokemon. Like, I feel like it really should be on there somewhere. Trauma Center, fucking Mario versus Donkey Kong. Like, I don't love the Lemmings style gameplay with all the little minis, but they are really interesting little games. And they're relatively affordable. Stuff like Nano Stray 2, is a little bit more expensive, whatever. Really broke my heart to not include like Nintendogs or fucking Mahjong. Like, I know I'm being shitty about that, but like Mahjong was fucking huge on the DS, and it's a fun fucking time waster. Brain Age, that sort of shit, Scribblenauts, like you had on your list. The DS is a weird platform to do this list for because it still feels so new.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not talking about like a lot of the other shit that we talk about. And there's so many games that are affordable on it. Like, there is some crazy shit on here. And stuff like, I don't even know. I was looking through the list again today, and this Solata Robo, Red the Hunter, fucking $185. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I've never heard of it.
Solata Robo? Is that expensive?
It's $185.
Wow. I've never played it. I just remember seeing it in my store, and nobody wanted it.
Yeah. $185.
Go fuck.
Yeah. And Contra 4.
Yeah, Contra
Ghost
4
Trick, Phantom Detective. Ghost Trick's like $100, the American version.
Yeah, it's coming to Switch.
Yeah, no, you're right. The fucking Chrono Trigger. The fuck is that? Chrono Trigger is really, really expensive. But like, there is a lot of stuff on here where it's we've had a couple systems recently where it's like, if you want to get into retro game collecting, this is maybe where you start, because some of the other shit is just priced out at this point.
Yeah, this is one of those systems that hasn't been killed by the retro collecting market yet. Because
the nostalgia's not quite there yet.
Exactly. So now is the time, especially if you don't mind grabbing some PAL stuff. But even if you're not, like, there's a lot of North American stuff complete in the box that isn't insanely priced yet. Really solid games.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good system to start collecting for now.
I mean, unless you're looking at the most expensive complete in box thing is the Zelda Twilight Princess preview trailer. That's gonna set you back $2,600.
What does complete in box mean? There was no
I
box
don't know.
for it. It was given out at E3.
But it's the regular, just the fucking preview trailer cart is $1,800. That's absurd.
Yeah, it's a trailer on a DS cart. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, no, this would be a good system to maybe jump into if you're looking to get into the collector aspect. Which, if we're being honest, coming from, and I think you'll agree with me, Kris, from two collectors, don't fucking go down this path. Like, don't fucking start collecting shit. It's a horrible thing to do to yourself.
Nah, if it makes you happy, I say go for it. Just set some boundaries for yourself, and you're good.
I just spent, so the fucking picture that I put in the Discord of the Robin Hood in his stork disguise, because I sold a game to Rumblemans. I sold Shatterhand to him. And he, with the money that he paid me, that's the only reason I bought this fucking Super 7 Ultimates Robin Hood figure, because that is my favorite Disney movie of all time. And these fucking Super 7 Ultimates go for $55 fucking dollars.
Wow, at least they're not the figure arts. Those are like 80.
Well, no, sure, but even with those, like, those prices are crazy. But like, you're importing them from Japan, and like there's not a justification for it necessarily, but there is some rationality to maybe get up to those price points. This is a fucking American company. Like, fuck you guys for charging like $40, and I would have a problem because I would own more of them. But at $55, the only reason I got it is because I sold Shatterhand, and I was like, all right, that seems like a fair trade to me. But now I'm sitting here, and like, that's the fucked up thing with collecting. And I don't know if you're like this, Kris, but it certainly is this way for me. This is the most expensive new figure that I've purchased, right? Like, when I started collecting Marvel Legends, they were $7.88, and now they're $25. And like, that sucks. But I've spent $25 on an action figure. I've spent $32 because that's how much the neck of shit is. But I've never gone up to the price point of where these Super 7 figures are. But now that I have, I'm like, all right, well, they also got this Pinocchio one that's really fucking cool. Like, because I opened the floodgates. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, I did it once. I'll fucking do it again now. I don't think I will get the Pinocchio one. I think the only other one that I would legitimately break down and buy, I might do the Pinocchio one. It's really cool. But the other one that I would like definitely say, okay, yeah, I have to get this, would be Sword in the Stone. Because the reason that I felt so strongly about the Robin Hood one was because, like, when the fuck am I ever gonna do this again? There's not a ton, like, you can't find a ton of Disney's Robin Hood merchandise around, you know?
It's just
it's just not something they do, and this one was so cool. But anyway, if you are thinking about getting into collecting, fucking don't, is my advice.
I say do it, but be extremely careful. And with that, I'm actually I'm gonna have to say that we're gonna give our listeners one more week for their DS starter kits, because
all right,
I'm actually so tired that I can't see straight, and the thought of reading the thought of reading all these things is hurting my head. So y'all get one more week. I promise I'll read them on the show next week, but I can't look at a computer screen any longer. I'm done.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we're gonna wrap this up. That is going to be our show. Join us next week. We're going to start a new monthly segment. So I have a movie podcast called Theater Near You. You've probably heard of it on the show, as I promote my own shit all the time.
That's right.
Oh, sorry. My brain no worky. So what we do on that show is every month we do a movie that's the next letter of the alphabet.
Right.
So I thought it would be really fun to do that as a monthly segment on Stone Age Gamer, where we attack a retro game that's short enough. Like, we're not going to be doing any big JRPGs or anything, but just something that we can get through, kind of like the summer series. And we're just going to go month by month alphabetical and take turns. I went first. What are we calling it? The Alphabet Super Series?
The Super Series, but like SOUPER.
Yeah, so it's like Alphabet Soup and Super Series. It's like
because John funny.
It's like John Madden Football Turd Beast.
Yeah, 100%.
For the first Alphabet Super Series is going to be next week's show, and it's going to be on Alicia Dragoon for Sega Genesis, which is available to play on Nintendo Switch Online. And I've been playing it, and it has been an interesting experience. That's a game I've never played before. It's one of those black checker box Sega games, and I think I thought it was neat, and I'd like to give it a try. So yeah, we're going to do this, and every month we're going to choose a different game. So if you want to play along with us for the next episode, we'll announce whatever our B episode is when Dan picks it at the end of next week. But you got a week.
That's right.
To play Alicia Dragoon on Sega Genesis and get in on the action, and that's all I got. So with that,
Yeah, I'm punching out, Maverick.
I'm punching out. We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts as well as all manner of other fun stuff like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank Evan for, you know what, not this week. He's not editing this week, but I would like to thank him for being a wonderful human being. He is off he's got a new job that's all fancy and fantastic, and I'm very proud of him, and I hope it makes him very happy. But he won't be editing this show in any way, shape, or form this week. It'll be all me, so if it sounds like crap, you're welcome. That's it. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.